Vice President Program Chief Engineer for this new car. You know, when my team got this and we started talking about this, a few years ago, it was very clear that Dodge has solidified itself in this marketplace in the last 10 years as a muscle car, in between the Hellcat, Red Eye, and the Demons. And when you start taking a look at what can you do next, where do you go? How do you take what is out there and then make it better? How do you add to it? And then they gave us an extra fun challenge of add electrification. So you have to make a muscle car and then add more to it. So we went back to what the basics are. You've heard it, Matt says it, we kind of live it and breathe it. It has to look like Dodge. So we just went through that. I think they nailed it, but that's just my opinion. It has to feel like a Dodge, drive like a Dodge, and it has to sound like a Dodge. So, as the engineering piece of it, I get the fun part of telling you guys about that. I'm not going to go through everything on the car, you guys have the whole day to play, but I do want to highlight some of the things that are what I feel is specific points that really make it the next level for us. So, let's talk about the body first. This is built off of our multi-energy platform on Stella Large. It's a common body structure between the ICE variants you're going to drive next year and this electrified variant. Common body structure. It has 23% higher stiffness than the outgoing model, and when you put the battery in it, it's 50% stiffer. We have a better weight distribution on this car than the outgoing model front to rear, and we have an increased downforce. So, you take the basic core start of the car with the body, and then you just make it better. From an interior perspective, Jeff's covered most of it, but there's a few things I just want to remind everybody that high back seats. First time we've ever offered that, coming out of the company, right from the plant. You start with the steering wheel, the big piece of it, the cockpit that's yours, to play with, it's focused right on you. But on the steering wheel, you have power shock right there on the lower right, 40 horsepower for 10 seconds. Maximize your performance and get where you gotta go quicker. All the modes, drive modes, right there on the lower left. So you can quickly go from any mode, auto, all the way to drive, and you're gonna be able to experience that today. The ambient lighting, I think is one of the coolest things. I've been driving it for the last few months. 64 colors. Some days if you're having a bad day, you might want to put it in blue, a little calm zenning moment, right? Or you could go racy red if you feel like you're having a Dodge moment, want to drive in track mode and get a little crazy. But it offers another level of flexibility that we didn't have before. You guys can do that out there today. We have the DXR, which is the track experience, so you're going to see that when you're out on the track today. Let's talk about chassis. Multi-link suspension, forged aluminum components. Get it right off the start, right? Make certain you have the right chassis basis. On the SCAT model here, we've added dual valve adaptive damping. We've added more sensors on the body and the chassis to make certain that in every drive mode, you have exactly what you need. So whether it's auto, you want a little bit more comfort, or if you're in track mode and you need to have more preciseness for your damping and your performance. On the SCAT pack, we have the largest wheel and tire offset that we've ever offered coming out of the company. 305/20s in the front, 325/20s in the rear. To match with that, we have the largest brake package we've ever done. 6 piston calipers in the front, 4 piston fixed in the rear with a 30% increased coverage. So let's talk about what powers this beautiful car. 100.5 kilowatt hour battery, 13 prismatic cells from Samsung. We have 2 250 kilowatt motors and all-wheel drive standard. Standard limited slip differential in the rear. On this RT model, we have wheel end disconnects in the front, 496 horsepower with a range of 308 miles. On this SCAT pack here, 670 horsepower, 0 to 60 in 3.3 seconds. 240 miles of range. Overall, I think we've taken what we used to have and we added to it. But then there was one last piece of the puzzle. We have to have sound. So you've heard it, you've seen it on the internet, you've heard clips of it, I think we've shared it out a few times, the Fratsonic chambered exhaust. So, before you experience it out there, you're going to experience it in here. sounds like a Dodge. And I think that there's a few things on this that for me, it tailors to also your experience. You can have the highest loud level, right, equivalent to the Hellcat, outgoing Hellcat, but you can turn it off as well, depending on what mood you are, right? It's a car that can tailor to you in a level that you never could before. So with that, I'm very excited for you to experience this car today. We have one last presenter, I believe. Ashton, if you want to come up, we're going to talk about some models of the car. Thank you.